Alright, so in the last video we looked at the overview of machine learning. Today we're going to continue from that previous video and outline the 8 steps that I take in my machine learning projects. Now it can be 7, can be 9, everyone's different. Some people combine steps, some people break down steps. But I find that 8 is a nice number, for me at least, and you'll see why it might be a good number for you too. So the very first step is you want to think about what it is that you're trying to solve, alright? So this is the ideation stage of the project. This is where, before you embark on any project, you should have an idea what it is you want to do, hence you would need to do a project if you had no idea what you want to embark on. So this is where you kind of flesh out the idea. Yeah, that's a better way to describe it. So you have an idea, you say, machine learning would be great for this, and then you start to think about what it is that you're trying to solve, which algorithm will be best to solve this problem. And this basically you ask yourself fundamental questions like, what type of problem is this? Is it a supervised learning problem? Is it an unsupervised learning problem? What is it? All right. So that's step 1. Step 2, you collect your data sources. Now, there are 2 fundamental ways you can approach this. One, you can start from scratch, right? And, create your own data, whether this is in form of like a SurveyMonkey or a Google form or, whatever data collection method you decide on, you can design your whole study, from start, like how many samples do you need? How will you select how will you select your samples, right? Things like that. So basically we're going to a whole research design process, right? So that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is to use pre-existing data sets out there. There are a bunch on Kaggle, the University of California, Irvine Machine Learning Repository, Amazon Web Services have some as well. There's Google data sets. There's a whole bunch of different, sources. There are sources that or portals that kind of curate different data sets, and then there are standalone data sets in themselves. The World Bank's World Development Indicators is another one. So you just have to scour the internet to see which data set is or which data sets you'll need, because sometimes you need more than one data set, and you just merge them or combine them in the way that's best fit for your problem. Step 3, once you have this data, you need to get to know it, right? It's not good enough to just have the data and say, oh, this is an awesome data set. You need to have some idea about your data. So you need to have some idea about what's the mean, what's the minimum, the maximum, the standard deviation. You need to get very intimate with your data, right? So this is where you run some descriptive statistics on it. This is where you kind of have a shape of the data, how you get to know the shape of the data, how many rows, how many columns, how many features are there, how many samples, right? How many different, how is it distributed, things like that. A very fancy term for this is EDA, or exploratory data analysis, and you will hear that a lot in the literature, EDA, all right? Step 4, once you have an idea of this data, and you have an idea of your problem, I should hope by now, then you need to put your data in a format that will help you and not hurt you to solve your problem or address your question. So this is where the term data pre-processing comes in, or feature engineering. You want to manipulate your data into a way that is most appropriate for the problem you're trying to solve, right? Now, step 5 is to choose an appropriate algorithm to approach this problem, right? So as you will see throughout this course, a bad model, right, can be caused by either a bad algorithm or bad data, right? And inversely, a good model is caused by a well-selected algorithm and well-selected data. All right, so it's very, very important to choose the appropriate algorithm. So keeping in mind that you already chose the right data set or collected the right data for your problem and pre-processed it. The next step is now to choose the appropriate machine learning algorithm. In this step, and this is where some people will break apart the steps into two. I really don't see the point, but after you've chosen your appropriate machine learning algorithm, you also need to specify an appropriate performance measure. And then once this is done, you train the model. All right. Now you can break this up into, choosing the appropriate model and specifying a performance measure into one step, and then training the model into step 6 or another step. But I find that putting this all together is, just more succinct and organized, well, based on how my brain works. Then step 6, you want to evaluate this model that you've now just trained using the specified performance measure. Step 7, like most models you'll encounter, except for maybe the ones you use with toy data sets, such as the Iris data set, Titanic data sets, stuff like that. Most models will have something you want to tweak, right? Most models will have something that, a result that you're not quite happy with. All right. So this is where fine tuning the model comes in. This is where you want to tune the hyperparameters to get exactly what the result that you want, or as close to the result as possible that you want. And then the final step is to deploy this model. All right. So that's basically the 8 steps in action, or rather in theory, not action. The next video, I'm going to go through all of this in a Jupyter notebook. Well, steps 1 through 7 for sure. I'm not sure we're going to touch on deploying the model in this course or in this video series, but just stay tuned and we will cover all steps involved in the machine learning process in upcoming videos. All right, so thanks for watching, guys, and I see you at the next video.